to connect a region of over 600 new bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Judith Limero delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region on today's headlines. Suspected pirates in Togo have released 3 crew members of a Greek oil tanker seized in November, but a 4th died in captivity. This according to the ship managers. Singapore has ordered an opposition party to correct online posts under a controversial law against misinformation, the first time the legislation has been used against a rival party, ahead of elections expected within months. And Michelle Obama promotes girls' education in Vietnam. In the Philippines, the death toll from the powerful quake that hit the southern part of the country climbed to 3 on Monday as rescuers used heavy equipment and their bare hands to hunt for survivors in a collapsed building. Sunday's tremor cracked schools, toppled homes, and injured dozens, but largely spared big cities on the island of Mindanao, which is still recovering from a string of deadly quakes in October. Searchers pulled the bodies of 2 victims from a collapsed market building in the town of Padada as they hunted for possible survivors trapped under the debris. A young child was also killed in a neighboring town when the family home collapsed. The fire official Fred Trajeras said they could not yet determine exactly how many are still trapped to the market building. The collapsed building was near the epicenter of the 6.8 magnitude quake and is the same region that was hit by 3 tremors above 6.0 in a matter of weeks in October. Those quakes killed some 24 people and forced tens of thousands into shelters, as well as heavily damaging homes and offices. President Rodrigo Duterte, who is from Davao and was there during the quake, was not hurt. The First Lady said the car she was riding in was swaying, spokesman Salvador Panelo said. Meanwhile, suspected pirates in Togo have released 3 crew members of a Greek oil tanker seized in November, but a 4th died in captivity, the ship manager said. European Products Carriers Limited said that 3 men are safe and well, have had medical checks and are currently being debriefed by the local authorities prior to returning home to the Philippines, Greece and Georgia respectively. The Togolese Navy said armed individuals had stormed the Elka Aristotle tanker some 10 nautical miles off the coast of the capital Lome, even with guards trying to repel the raid. West African waters have become one of the most dangerous maritime regions in the world. Attacks on ships and the abductions of crew for ransom have become more frequent, especially along the Nigerian coast. The pirates sometimes divert ships for several days, long enough to plunder the cargo and demand huge ransoms before freeing the crew. 9 sailors abducted by suspected pirates from a Norwegian owned cargo ship off Benin's port of Cotonou were also freed this week after 35 days in captivity. The Gambia hit out Thursday at Aung San Suu Kyi's silence over the plight of Rohingya Muslims after the Nobel Peace Laureate defended Myanmar against genocide charges at the UN's top court. Lawyers for the African country said her arguments that Myanmar's 2017 military crackdown was a clearance operation targeting militants ignored widespread allegations of mass murder, rape, and forced deportation. Take a look.
During hearings at the International Court of Justice, Gambia's Justice Minister urged Myanmar to stop the genocide against the Rohingya Muslim minority. The Gambia set out its case as former democracy icon and Myanmar's civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi personally leads her country's defense at the UN's top court. Around 740,000 Rohingya fled to neighbouring Bangladesh after a bloody crackdown by the Myanmar military in 2017 that UN investigators have already described as genocide.
So all that the Gambia asks is that you tell Myanmar to stop these senseless killings, to stop these acts of barbarity and brutality that have shocked and continue to shock our collective conscience, to stop this genocide of its own people. Tell Myanmar to give these Rohingya children a chance in life. It is what we ask of you, because when you speak, the world listens.
Regrettably, the Gambia has placed before the court an incomplete and misleading factual picture of the situation in Rakhine State in Myanmar. Yet, it is of the utmost importance that the court assess the situation obtaining on the ground in Rakhine dispassionately and accurately. It cannot be ruled out that disproportionate force was used by members of the defense services, in some cases in disregard of international humanitarian law, or that they did not distinguish clearly enough between ARSA fighters and civilians. There may also have been failures to prevent civilians from looting or destroying property after fighting or in abandoned villages. But these are determinations to be made in the due course of the criminal justice process, not by any individual in the Myanmar government. Can there be genocidal intent on the part of a state that actively investigates, prosecutes, and punishes soldiers and officers who are accused of wrongdoing? Although the focus here is on members of the military, I can assure you that appropriate action will also be taken against civilian offenders in line with due process. There will be no tolerance of human rights violations in the Rakhine or elsewhere in Myanmar. If war crimes have been committed by members of Myanmar's defense services, they will be prosecuted through our military justice system in accordance with Myanmar's constitution. It is a matter for the competent criminal justice authorities to assess whether, for example, there had been inadequate distinction between civilians and ARSA fighters, disproportionate use of force, violations of human rights, failure to prevent plundering of property or destruction, or acts of forcible displacement of civilians. Such conduct, if proven, could be relevant under international humanitarian law or human rights conventions, but not under the 1948 Genocide Convention. Rakhine today suffers an internal armed conflict between the Buddhist Arakan Army and Myanmar's defense services. Muslims are not a party to this conflict, but may, like other civilians in the conflict area, be affected by security measures that are in place. We pray the court to refrain from taking any action that might aggravate the ongoing conflict and armed conflict and peace and security in Rakhine. Intercommunal violence of 1940.
If it were genocide, there would not be any of these people, the Rohingya, left, says one of the Yangon residents, as people in Myanmar give their take on the hearing at the International Court of Justice, where de facto civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi has urged judges to throw out a genocide case. Watch this.
Our Bagaro, a man, the Apilla limit in it. Damn, a piece machine got to a shipping blood of Shida Valley. Don't loan to answer Pogway Haralamo. The people need a change demand. But I think, Danjika was saying, London children are nearly Shida to Surara to take your Hara. Tomorrow, don't answer the Bagaro, the lane at Papa.
事實 ဆွဲချက်ကိုတော့မှန်တယ်လို့မထင်ဘူးသူတို့ဒီနိုင်ငံကိုခိုးဝင်လာတယ်ကြောင့်မို့ဒီနိုင်ငံမှာလည်းစီမင်းစည်းကမ်းတွေလည်းရှိပြီးသားအဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့စစ်တပ်ကလည်းလှုပ်တင်လှုပ်ထိုက်တာကိုလှုပ်တယ်တချို့သောကိစ္စရပ်တွေမှာတော့ဘယ်မှမှုတွေတော့ရှိကောင်းရှိမှာပေါ့နော်ဒါပေမဲ့လှုပ်တင်လှုပ်ထိုက်လို့လှုပ်တယ်လို့ပဲမြင်ပါတယ်ဒါကြောင့်လူမျိုးတုံးတက်ဖြတ်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုကလည်းအဲ့လူမျိုးတွေတယောက်မှမရှိဘဲနဲ့ရှိနေရမှာပေါ့အခုကသူတို့လူမျိုးတွေလည်းအများကြီးပဲလေတို့နိုင်ငံထဲမှာဘေးနေရာဘေးဒေသပဲဖြစ်အဲ့တဲ့နေရာတွေမှာရှိတာမှမဟုတ်တာအဲ့တော့အဲ့ဟာကိုလူမျိုးတုံးတက်ဖြတ်တယ်လည်းမခံဘူးပြီးတော့ညီမတို့စီမှာတည်သွားတဲ့အရေးအတွက်ကလည်းအဲ့လောက်ထိအများကြီးမဟုတ်ဘူးလူမျိုးတုံးတက်ဖြတ်တယ်လို့ပြောရလောက်တဲ့အရေးအတွက်တွေလည်းမရှိဘူးအဲ့အကြောင်းအဲ့အတော်ကိုတော့သူတို့ဘက်ကဆွဆွေးတာတော့ဟိုအဲ့လူမျိုးတုံးတက်ဖြတ်တဲ့အထိပြောလို့တော့မရဘူး
In other news, thousands rallied in Bangkok behind the popular leader of an upstart anti-establishment party on Saturday. In the first major protest since March elections returned a junta-aligned government to power. Protesters held signs calling for democracy and flashed a three-finger salute, a rallying symbol used by the Future Forward party that got more than 6 million votes in the election. The party's popular billionaire leader Thanathorn Juwangrung Ruwankit called for those who could no longer tolerate the current social conditions to come out in a flash mob demonstration. Police told media Saturday that roughly 150 unarmed officers would be deployed to Bangkok's tourist-friendly downtown shopping district for the rally. Under junta rule, which followed a coup in 2014, there have been no massive rallies in March's elections, governed under a military-scripted constitution, reinstated former junta chief of Kayut Chan Ocha as prime minister. Future Forward's popularity has rattled the military and its allies, and its executive have been battered by legal woes since the election. The latest threatens the party with this dissolution over alleged illegal loans from Thanathorn, a case submitted Friday to a court that stripped his MP status last month. The 41-year-old leader has repeatedly said the cases against him and FFP are politically motivated. Thailand's political scene has been dominated by violence since 2006, with street protests devolving into blood-soaked disorder.
ชั่วโมงเดียวก็พอแสดงพลังแสดงสัญลักษณ์ของผู้ที่ไม่ยอมจำนนนะครับวันนี้มาแสดงสัญลักษณ์มาแสดงพลัง
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back. Singapore has ordered an opposition party to correct online posts under a controversial law against misinformation. The first time the legislation has been used against a rival party, ahead of elections expected within months. The Singapore Democratic Party, or the SDP, one of a host of small opposition parties in the city-state, was ordered to correct 2 Facebook posts and an article on its website related to employment issues. Authorities said in a press release on Saturday, the Facebook post claimed that many Singaporeans had been displaced from white-collar jobs by foreign employees, which the authorities said was false. These false and misleading statements by the SDP have a singular objective: to stoke fear and anxiety among local PMETs, professionals, managers, executives, and technicians. It is important to set the facts straight so that Singaporeans are not misled, the government said on its fact-checking site. Authorities used the measure twice last month, ordering Facebook to put a correction by a post for the first time, and telling an opposition party member to correct a message. According to the SDP, Google also cited the new regulation, which prohibits adverts seeking to influence public opinion. When it announced a ban on political ads in Singapore this month, the party said the move would affect its ability to reach out to voters in a country where the mainstream media usually backs the government. The increased use of the law comes as speculation mounts that elections could be called within months, although a weak opposition is seen as no match for the long-ruling People's Action Party. Singapore's government, which regularly faces criticism for curbing civil liberties, insists the legislation is necessary to stop the spread of damaging falsehoods online. Meanwhile, in support of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or the ASEAN, efforts in combating marine plastic debris, the government of Norway launched the ASEAN-Norway Cooperation Project on local capacity building for reducing plastic pollution in the ASEAN region, or the ASEANO. The overall project is funded by a $3 million contribution from the government of Norway under the Norwegian ASEAN Regional Integration Program, or NARIP, and will be implemented over 3 years. ASEAN will support the implementation of the Bangkok Declaration on Combating Marine Debris in ASEAN region and the ASEAN Framework of Action in Marine Debris. This new initiative aims to enhance cooperation with a range of stakeholders, both formal and informal, to improve plastic management practices along the whole plastic value chain, and to contribute to meeting sound reduction targets through capacity building and knowledge sharing. The project will also develop cost-effective and standardized methods of monitoring plastic waste in rivers and identify key sources of plastic leakage to develop targeted responses. ASEAN will initially focus on selected pilot catchments in Indonesia and the Philippines, with plans of expanding to Vietnam and possibly other ASEAN countries. The knowledge developed will be relevant and transferable to other catchments in the ASEAN region, and will help the ASEAN countries to meet sound reduction targets both nationally and regionally. Permanent representative of Thailand to ASEAN Pasphorn Sangasubana highlighted the project is an example of multi-stakeholder effort to follow up on the pledge that the leaders have made to increase the public awareness and participation with the aim to change behavior towards preventing and reducing marine debris. It also reflects the shared commitment to address issues of common concern that ASEAN has with its external partners, especially Norway, who has played a leading role in combating marine litter and microplastic both at domestic and international levels. Ambassador of Norway to ASEAN Morten Hogland said, quote, "Norway is proud to launch this project with ASEAN in combating marine litter and microplastics. Healthy oceans are crucial for our planet. We need to act forcefully to stop plastic waste ending up in our rivers and oceans." ASEAN adopted in Bangkok this year a framework of action on marine debris. Norway is committed to support ASEAN on this important issue. The 5th Task Force meeting of the ASEAN Food Safety Regulatory Framework, or the AFSRF, was held from December 10th to 12th at the ASEAN Secretariat. The 3-day event was attended by delegates from the ASEAN member states within the agriculture, economic, and health sectors to continue negotiations on the AFSRF agreement draft. Since 2014, the agriculture, economic, health sectors in ASEAN have worked together to develop the ASEAN Food Safety Policy, or the AFSP, and the AFSRF. In 2015, the AFSP was finalized, and subsequently, the AFSRF was completed the following year. Both documents have been adopted by ASEAN Ministers of Agriculture and Forestry. ASEAN economic ministers and ASEAN health ministers. After the adoption of both documents by the sectoral ministers, a task force on the development of the AFSRF was established in 2017. The task force's purpose is to undertake the development of the AFSRF agreement. It is supported by the ASEAN Regional Integration Support from the EU Plus project.
At the famous pyramids of Giza. Stay tuned to watch Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Reporting from EBC Egypt Bureau, I'm Zara Angeles Valdez, and I am one with 25.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave some love by giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe here at EBC Digital Nest so you don't miss any of our upcoming features.
Welcome back. Former U.S. First Lady Michelle Obama, along with Hollywood A-lister actress Julia Roberts, visits a local high school in southern Vietnam, urging a classroom of teenage girls to invest in their education to transform their lives. Watch this.
You as part of the Girls Opportunity Alliance. Xin chào tất cả mọi người. I'm Jenna.
When you educate a girl, you give them power and a voice and an opportunity to improve their lives and the lives of their family and the lives of their community.
Dạ em cảm thấy rất là tự hào khi mà Obama viếng thăm trường của mình và tạo cho em động lực rất là nhiều. Bà Obama kể về câu chuyện cuộc đời của bà, và bà Obama muốn mình phải thật cố gắng nhiều hơn nữa để thành công giống như bà.
After an artist made headlines by eating a $120,000 banana artwork taped to a gallery wall in Miami, a Singaporean durian seller responds with his own creative art piece. Watch this. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Judith Limera, and I'm one with 25.